We are live.
I love it.
Start back over.
That's it, man.
He doesn't
That's gotta
like.
be it. I mean, that's
They get you a neon light sign that says live.
you couldn't do it any more perfect.
I guess.
I mean, 98.
Dude love over here.
Smooth. We got a good one for you today, folks.
All right, we're starting over.
We are
Take.
live.
No, we're on air.
Oh, now
Yeah.
we can edit that crap out.
Oh no, we're getting it live and real.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. If you are a new listener, welcome. If you happen to see the past 3 episodes and the new episode dropping tomorrow with part 2 of Mr. Stafford Sheridan that we had on here last week, then welcome back. We have a very special guest once again today. This man hails from the great city of Vardaman, Mississippi. He is another true national treasure. When the first Thanksgiving dinner happened, his family was there with a basket of sweet potatoes. And they cooked some of that old sweet homemade sweet potato pie. And all the chief could say was, how?
Are you from Vardaman or Thorn, by the way?
Actually, Thorn.
Okay.
But my family originated in Vardaman.
Okay, keep going.
He hails from
We
Thorn.
would like to put a correction on the record that he hails from Thorn.
We don't want to get in trouble with Thorn Mafia out there. We've been ungetting.
Yeah, it runs thick out there.
Yeah.
We have Mr. Caleb Englert.
Breaker 19 for that Brockway 18-wheeler. Come on, good buddy.
Did I catch a niner in there? Were you calling from a walkie-talkie?
Imagine if we had these when we were 12? Even better. Got them when we're 40.
Come ahead on, bandit. We'll slip you into the rocking chair. Play a little hide and seek. The welcome mat is out and you're coming home.
How's it going, man?
It's going good. Going a lot better than usual.
Yeah.
Potato sales are going good. Family's doing good. Everybody's over the flu.
Man, that stuff's been running rampant, it seems like.
Chickasaw County hit setting a record worldwide.
Yeah.
What was the school north? Was it West Union? They closed their whole school down last week, I think.
Hoka did too.
Oh, I didn't hear about
for a
Hoka.
day. I know they did like last Friday or so.
I think West Union said they had I think it was like 250. I don't know how big their school is, but like 250 kids out at one time, so they shut down for like 3 or 4 days. Luckily to me, I got Superman blood running through my veins. That stuff don't affect me now.
That's right. We probably got a good dose of immunity being snowed in Savannah.
The antioxidants in the sweet potato, that's what I contribute my non-sickness to.
If I start feeling sick, I just take a big shot of ivermectin.
Take you about
See
one
what
of them on
happens.
the
That's it.
table up there.
See, when COVID hit, I wanted to do a video a day. I'm like, well, once I finally did get it, I'm like, well, I ate a sweet potato a day, cleared it right up.
Cleared it right
Right.
up.
I just didn't make that a priority, but I think that would have been the secret.
Yeah. Yeah, you could have sold some.
It's got so many anti-inflammatory properties, beta carotene, whole 9 yards. You know, might make your love life better. Not sure.
We have officially become Alex Jones.
Always selling.
Yeah, always so.
Supplement. Well, before we go into who you are and what you do, well, I think we're going to make this a thing. We have a gift for you. Craig, I believe,
Yeah.
down there.
You know, you said you hadn't missed a crop since you got your Signature Series Brooks hat, so.
Hey, I thought about bringing them
Hey,
in.
We didn't want to be I signed the bottom of it. I get John Paul to sign. I don't know who
Lord.
signed it last year,
You
but
signed
somebody
it?
did. Yeah, I
Gosh,
signed
dang.
it.
You
Signature Series.
I got them all hanging up. in
That'll
my
be
office
worth a
right
lot of
there.
money one day.
And I thought about bringing them in just to show y'all that I was serious.
So if you miss a crop, we don't want it to be because you didn't have your.
They wouldn't let me sign it.
No.
But yeah, I'm gonna add that to some of my success. I don't know if it's farming practices or the Brooks spreading hat, but I'm gonna say
way.
we're not. If it's not broke, we're not changing. it.
That's right.
That's right.
Well-
Don't fix what's not broke. So best wishes in 25.
But I can tell you about the unlucky hat in the field. When they're having a bunch of trouble, broke down. I don't know what hat it was, but it wasn't a Brooks hat. And I was like, hot dang, we got to change something. Either go home, start over. Everything was breaking down. And I took that hat. I was like, it's got to be this. I threw it on the ground in the dirt, and one of the boys picked it up. Oh, can I have this? Whatever. I was like, yeah, you carry that back to Mexico with you. So I'm going to put it on. 20 minutes later, water moccasin come up with chain on him.
Oh, shit.
I seen him running across the field to a service truck, get a thing of diesel, put it on there, set on fire. Hat no good. Hat no good. Hat no good.
No bueno.
Do it.
Yeah,
There was my Spanish
I'm
for
gonna
the
say
day.
if you'd have given me a bad look hat and a water moccasin run up my leg, I'd have done the same thing.
Yep.
Well, before we get into who you are and what you do, we have one serious question that we have asked every guest to this point, which has been a whopping one. So you're number 2. What are your thoughts on falconry?
Oh goodness.
Falconry.
Will has got an obsession with wanting a
he's got-
falcon, and I think I'm on board with it.
Well, at first,
So-
I thought you were going to ask me about the toilet paper roll. I'm definitely
This
on
is-
top kind of guy.
This is way more serious.
Hey, you've got about one more time to bring it up, and then you're going to be like, answer when spoken to. That's about one more time.
Do you know what falconry is?
I did. I'm a steady subscriber since the very beginning. And
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. So you've been cued in.
right, I've been
Well-
cued in.
So do you think, that falconry is the way to go, or is it like one of our greatest lost pastimes?
It's definitely
So
a game changer.
uncomfortable right now.
This is
Yeah.
Definitely a
This is
game
mean
changer to
tic-tac-toe
the, I
time.
guess, would be the rodent hunting,
Yeah.
or do they just mainly get birds? I was kind of confused on that.
Well, so the bigger ones can get like rabbits and stuff. So,
Okay.
but the little ones they use to get like rodents and birds.
we're not sure what size kid they can pick up just yet.
Yeah.
We've got some feelers out there.
Yeah.
I think it'd be all right.
I mean, it's like a gun that retrieves it for you.
If y'all can't
you know?
tell, I'm very uncomfortable in this. But
I'm not like I said, I'm steadfast from the beginning. I'm not so concerned about the bird, what kind of bird's over there. But I do have a shirt that I'm gonna rip the sleeves out of,
Yes, sir.
leave it unbuttoned about halfway down, turn my hat around backwards, and we're fixing to blast Kid
And
Rock
I
into
will
El
have
Camino. And I'm not sure we may have straight pipes.
Yeah, of
like
course. And I will be wearing a wolf T-shirt,
I mean, we're gonna have to do it
guaranteed,
now.
with a fanny
Oh
pack.
yeah.
It's,
I'm just trying to figure out how to implement the falconry into the sweet potato industry.
Right.
Would that be a good deterrent for rabbits and
water
rodents?
water moccasins.
Yep, water moccasins.
Keep 'em coming up that
since
chain.
that has been a problem.
I tell you what, I've seen a bunch of water moccasins, and I ain't sure a falcon's a match for a water moccasin.
Well, they got those ferrets that fight them cobras over there in India.
Well-
That's a bad little dude too.
I warned you before you came on, Caleb. We sort of all over the place a little
Yeah.
bit with this.
I'll be all right. I just didn't know if it was going to be in the morning time or happy hour when we're going to have all this.
Well, we ain't ventured into happy hour just yet.
Anyway, Mr. Caleb Englert,
Lay it on me.
there's your name. What do you do for a living?
What I do for a living, I'm a sweet potato grower in the Thorn community.
Yeah, back up just a little bit further than that, because I mean we all know who you are, but I mean your family, no joke, does have a rich history in the sweet potato. So go back to, I mean I'm gonna say Mr. Jr. was probably what, one of the first handful that was in Vardaman, probably.
Yeah, I can start all the way back to the covered wagon. I need to.
Well, no, I mean just sort of a
Well-
brief.
All right, I'll cut it
Some
down.
of the
I'll
guys-
do the cliff notes on
There
that.
you go.
On that. Well, my granddad was J.R. Pennick, and so we originated from Martin, Tennessee, and come down to Vardaman. So did some other families did. So from the Vardaman area, and I actually have a thing my great granddaddy wrote. It was a speech. I have to share it with you. It's pretty neat how they traveled on covered wagon, traded land, Martin, Tennessee, to get to Vardaman. So anyway, they're in there in Vardaman, and
So Martin, just to back up, what part of Tennessee is that?
it's in West Tennessee.
West Tennessee.
It's kind of, yeah, it's
I mean,
in
I've
West
heard-
Tennessee, but it's kind of north of Jackson up there.
Gotcha.
I can look at Google Maps, but that's
Yeah.
that's
We're,
pretty much where
we're
it's at.
still in that area now. Then. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
so there were several families, not just mine, that come from Martin, Tennessee, and in that speech, they sent the women on the railroad to get down there, and all the men and boys, they carried the covered wagons and all their stuff down there, and apparently fought Indians or whatever, get down to where they are. So I don't know necessarily, I guess, sweet potatoes maybe an already going environment at the time, and then several other families, they figured out how to market them across the Delta and stuff like that. And then my granddaddy branched into processed potatoes, and so that's where I cut my teeth coming up through grade school and college, just following him around and doing that. And we branched into doing some organic sweet potatoes, which I do now. We did that, and anyway, after his health got bad and family stuff, and I branched out on my own about 10 years ago. So I grow conventional sweet potatoes and organic, about a 70-30 ratio, more organic. And I'm also the president of the Sweet Potato Council. And what I just learned from our trip to Savannah at the national convention, I'm the National Sweet Potato Council president now. I guess they were hard up. That's what you do for missing meetings.
Heck yeah.
I missed that first council meeting over there in
They looked
Savannah.
around. They looked around, and you got nominated by committee.
Right. I think that's exactly what happened. So now I'm holding two positions, I guess.
Also, from what I gather, you're a local news celebrity in Savannah.
I am. I actually got on. We went down to Savannah last week for the National Sweet Potato Convention. Savannah's real nice. They had real good food, and this is just Caleb's take on it. It's similar to some New Orleans food, get some oyster stuff like that, but it's from the other side of the coast, and get some good seafood. But when you step in a water puddle on the road, you don't get gangrene.
Yeah,
Right.
big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
And the folks that were out and about sitting on park benches, they're kind of upper middle class, folks.
I've been through Savannah. I've never really
Savannah's a nice
stopped.
place.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful place.
I tell you what, they can't handle is
Georgia,
snow.
do they grow? I mean, in North Carolina, Mississippi, and Louisiana, that's the big one. Georgia grow that many sweet potatoes?
They don't. They actually fall into the weevil zone.
Gotcha.
So where there's so many different terminologies on
But
that
they
rule.
do grow some.
They may grow some. I'm not just totally certain on that. I can't confirm nor deny, but I know if you do grow and you're within that pink tag weevil area, you can't leave. You have to sell just right there inside your circle.
Gotcha.
So
their export market would be
their next door neighbor.
non-existent.
Yeah.
So they can't leave.
Yeah, that was part of that map. Well, he showed in Mississippi at the sweet potato meeting where it's prevalent in Mississippi, which is pretty much all the way down at the
on the
coast,
coast.
most of it.
Right. And that's kind of, which brought up when I became president or whatever, that issue got brought up. And so Mississippi State, that's kind of on some of my notes right here. I mean,
So let's start right. So you're the president of the Mississippi Sweet Potato Council. Mm-hmm. And how long have you been the president?
Probably, I'm going to say 5, maybe 6 years.
Uh-huh. And what is your role as the president of Sweet Potato Council?
As the role or as any, I mean, basically the Sweet Potato Council's kind of mission statement is promote the industry within the state and outside the state, and also, like the weevil thing, keep up with research, anything that we can do to stay proactive. And right now, that is on some of my notes, talk about the board. Like, we make trips to D.C. and kind of draw awareness to some of our problems like H2A. And we actually wrote a grant a few years ago to do some billboards. And we also got a sweet potato truck. I figure Idaho has one. We ought to have one too. So we're very, very proud of that. Y'all got to see that night, that meeting. And
Now that truck, did it float around to the different people?
no,
Or how's that work? Because I see it being pulled by.
it stays pretty much, but it hauls potatoes is pretty much for one grower is what it hauls for, but I'm sure ready to haul for whoever calls. But it basically goes back and forth to Atlanta 4 times a week.
Gotcha.
So as far as those impressions and what you spend on a truck wrap that lasts up to 12 years compared to when we did our billboards, Atlanta, Dallas, from Chicago, your best bang for the buck is wrap a trailer. If there's a way, and I actually did talk to like a billboard truck company, like where they wrap a prime truck for about like a billboard, they'll rip it off, put somebody else on there. They got some sort of technology that can ping off folks' phones and it can say how many people saw it, how many impressions. Mm-hmm. So we don't have that technology, which we just know a bunch of people are getting to see it.
Yeah.
That's on Google Maps, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it can, if you do an ad through Google Maps, it'll ping people like as they view it where they're at, and it gives you analytics through that and how many.
You catch Talladega weekend when they're on the way from over to Atlanta, man, you get a bunch of views that week.
That's right. Although one thing,
old truck driver may get him some views.
although
If
having,
he goes down Speedway Boulevard there.
I'm sorry.
go ahead.
I want to back up to growing up, and so how many generations of sweet potato farmer do you come from?
See, that's kind of weird because I've been asked that before. So I'm gonna say 3, maybe 3 to 4.
34.
All my grandparents lived till they were 95, so
So your family's been doing this a long time.
they have. But I mean, somebody's like, "Well, what's your generation of farm?" Well, I guess in a way, consider it first generation. I guess because I started just with an old pickup truck and FSA loan.
Yeah.
How we got here, and good Lord bless us, and we're still here today fighting a good fight.
But you farm organic. That's your market is the organic sweet potatoes.
It is, and I've sat on a few boards with some organic folks. I mean, it has its place.
Yeah.
It's not if everybody in the whole country goes organic and stuff, it's just not going to produce enough to feed this country. But it is a niche market.
It's
good. It's kind of different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, it's the same as, we can't go all conventional, back to conventional beans and corn and stuff. I just don't, like I saw the other day that Mexico is banning Roundup and all. We can't go back to that and produce enough food,
Right.
I don't think.
You can't go to all one thing. We had the conversation about, what was it, first or second podcast about going vegan?
Yeah.
I don't think it's feasible for everybody in the world to be vegan. I just think we'd eat everything up.
Do you know how you can tell if somebody's a vegan? They'll tell you about it.
Yeah.
they'll let you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So just to get a little backstory, what was your child? You can talk about this as much as you want or as little as you want, but what was your childhood like growing up? In a farming family and a sweet potato family. Did you have a good childhood? What did you do? As a kid growing up in a farming family.
Well, I was pretty much in my granddad's back pocket. Wherever he went, I went. He'd pick me up from school. My mama pick up my brothers, and and picking up chunks was a very big part of my childhood. I think everybody at least ought to pick up chunks. You figure once you made it to where you have to pay the bills and write the check, you'd be done picking up chunks. No, you're not.
And what's a chunk?
A chunk is a block of wood. They just float up.
Like where you cleared off a field, had trees on it. You're going to leave behind.
Okay.
chunks.
And apparently they just float up over a period of time. You just keep on finding them and keep on picking them up.
And so a lot of what you do as a kid helping was picking up chunks.
Picking up chunks and just riding setter, washing taters, just whatever he told me to do. And like on Sundays, he was a big horse guy, so we'd
And this
go
is
ride.
your daddy?
That's my granddaddy.
Granddaddy.
We'd ride horses every Sunday. What I thought we were having fun, he just knew he could get around all his property on them horses, and as we worked, pretty much everything he did was work. Had work background the whole time.
So from the early on, you pretty much knew, because I know when I was a little kid, I always dreamed about being on a podcast. I mean, I just knew that's what I.
You knew this
Me
day
too.
was coming.
I mean, me and John have always, it's been our dream forever. But,
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, that's pretty much, you knew from early age you wanted to farm.
Right. That's just what I wanted to do. Didn't care about anything else. I just wanted to farm and just wanted to work.
Yep.
You know, that's what me and my buddies were having a conversation. And like, well, it was like, you going rabbit hunting us down? I was like, shoot, now John Deere's got that cell on filters. We about to change oil. You're ready to start farming. I mean, that's kind of like one of my, I just seem to be working and farming, you know.
You do. I mean, you do fall in love with the being outdoors, and my family didn't farm, but I mean that's all I've ever done, from scouting cotton to selling tractors to now in the application business, has been something to do with ag. You fall in love with just being with the ag industry as a whole, you know, and you want to.
Oh yeah, it's a tough industry. I mean, but you just have I guess the good Lord just instills some sort of something in your soul. You just in love with it. It's very rewarding. And like my granddaddy's told time and time again, from me being a little kid to wherever we went talking to somebody. I just remember we went to go see his lawyer one day, and I was probably 10 or whatever. And he had $1,000 suit, and he's like, "Son, you better get some coffee if they offer it, because we're paying for it." But he's like, "I'm gonna tell you something." He was talking to that lawyer. He said, "The good Lord made farmers before he made doctors and lawyers." And I was like, "Hell, you can take it to the bank."
Yeah. Well, I met your granddaddy. Well, I met him a couple times, but I only really talked to him one time, and I was spreading lime for him. It was probably the first or second year that I started spreading out of high school. And I was right there on Thorn Road, and he pulled up, and I didn't know who he was. I was waiting on the lime truck to come dump some more lime, and he told me that he used to he had a spreader truck and used to spread it back then. But he told me that, now this story may have been true or it may not have, because he may have just been telling me. But he said that he was spreading one day, but they brought the lime to him on a wooden trailer, and he had to shovel it off of there. And he said by the end of that one day, they had to come get him an ambulance because he had basically done give completely out from exhaustion. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it was to me, it was very intriguing to listen to, because just the way stuff used to have to be done versus now.
Oh, definitely. I don't remember the ambulance story, but he said, "Yeah, we used to have to shovel it off the truck, and into the spreader."
That's what he told me. So
I've shoveled it from inside a spreader to out, because we're
not built like that.
broke belt and stuff like that. But I can promise you, going out or in to out ain't no fun. I can promise you.
No, we're not built. We're not built like that.
They were built a lot tougher back then.
Yes.
Well, and my next question was going to be, farming is kind of a perishable skill, meaning like if it's not carried down from generation to generation, or if you don't practice at it every year and get better at it and do it all the time, you can lose that skill. Am I right? In other words, if you quit farming today and you wanted, and in 10 years down the road you decided I'm gonna get back into farming, would you say it would be tougher to get back into farming and actually producing a good crop again, or am I wrong? And then what I'm getting at is I'm assuming there's things that maybe your granddaddy and your daddy passed down generation to generation that made a good farmer out of you.
Well, it's technology and everything. I mean, in that span of time, just practices and technology. It'd be a learning curve to get back and figure out what new. There's always going to be something new.
Say the biggest thing I've seen over the years is some seem like they adapt to not only technology but different farming practices. We went from back when I first started scouting cotton, we didn't have BT cotton, and you went out and checked and had worms and stuff. You sprayed, and then BT cotton come out, and all of a sudden you got worms, but they're telling you not to spray them because that plant's going to kill those worms and stuff. So,
well, and I think
you just got to adapt to different. And some people seem like over the years have adapted better to changing farming practices and technology better than others, and some just seem like they were stuck the way they'd done it in this certain window in the 70s or whatever, and never could move out of that. So,
and then I guess more my question was going, and I didn't do a good job of getting it out, but is there something that your granddaddy and your daddy passed on to you that they carried on, that your granddaddy taught your daddy and your daddy taught you, that makes you a better sweet potato farmer? Like John Paul's daddy Mr. Buff had 6 P's, right? Mm-hmm. Is there anything like that?
Well, the biggest thing, some people know more of that backstory, but the biggest thing that my granddaddy taught and gave me was a work ethic. I'm going to say, if you got that, you can jump back into farming. I mean, that's just your number one thing. If you like to work and enjoy the work and still have that drive, I mean, you can do anything you want. I mean, as long as you got that, I just don't see it not being a positive thing.
And having an open mind.
Yeah, and having an open mind. And
this thing, I mean, it's changed so much in the past 20, 25 years
that goes back to the woman and the ham. I don't know if y'all heard the story. She'd always cut 2 ends off in a ham and put it in the oven and cook it. And, well, the daughter or somebody asked her, "Well, Mama, why you always do that?" "Well, I don't know. That's how your grandmother always done it." "Well, finally I went and asked the grandmother and been like, why'd you cut 2 ends off ham before you baked it? She's like, I didn't have a pan big enough.
So it's just
one of them things that just carried on.
Just
I
carried
mean, you know,
on.
but like you said, an open mind. I mean, there's everything's changing in the industry. That goes back to like one of my things. I mean, that with the ag community and sweet potatoes in general. I mean, now farmers used to we just have to worry about see what the weather's going to do if we're going to work or not. Now we need to keep up with all our, you know, different regulations, food safety, you know, different things coming from DC that affects us. We just need to be proactive on that. I mean, that's like if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu.
yeah.
So, I mean, it's just you got to stay plugged in because everything's changing. Like our H2A labor rules and stuff are changing each year. The wage rate's going up. And that's our biggest, you know, if you were asking me what our biggest issue in the tater industry right now is, I'd say our labor. And I think that goes across the board for everybody.
Oh yeah.
In every industry is labor. But
Yep.
we just need labor for 3 to 4 months out of the year, really. And then we don't need them anymore. So as far as, and I think this is my take on it, the way the labor rate's going up, would want you to promote more hiring American workers. But if I was an American worker and there's only a job 3 to 4 months out in, you know, on this farm, I can't feed my family or take care of myself for that. So that's where the H2A program comes in. It helps us farmers out a lot. But, you know, when we
There
went to,
again, when you got the government, doesn't the government dictate what those guys are paid?
they are, and that's, we kind of learned that a little bit in DC. And from this
So
is
y'all have no input from that standpoint.
somewhat we do, somewhat we don't, depending on who you talk to. You know, because we talk to USDA, Department of Labor, it's 2 folks we talk to. It's just kind of, this is just Caleb's take. I just think we kind of get pencil whipped on what we get.
Well, and that's one of those that you just about, because if H2A labor goes up, just say if it went up in 25, that doesn't mean that you can pass that along and add that to the sweet potato, because sweet potatoes are going to bring whatever they're going to bring.
Right.
So that's a cost that Caleb's got to earn.
And that's all specialty crops across the board. I mean, it's a huge deal. I mean, yeah, if we could pass fertilizer costs, you know, all our input costs along, you wouldn't hear anybody hurting. You know, if you just pass that buck along, their margins are still the same. And we did a study, which I don't mind saying on here, you know, just on how it's affected the tater industry, just to get our stuff out. And this is just here in Mississippi. You know, if you use 2020 as a base year on our labor, and then to 2023, you know, Mississippi spent over $10 million extra, you know, just on how it went
Just
up.
in
And that's,
labor.
and like I was, you know, wanting to express to them while we're up there, I mean, that's $10 million untaxed, you know, didn't tax or what, nothing that just left the country that didn't get spent in our local economy right here. Because if farmers do good, because most farmers are in rural communities, you know, you see here at Good Crop, you see that Chevrolet dealership, they're getting all to 2,500 and stuff lined up, you know, getting ready for that, or, you know, service trucks, whatever have you. But, you know, the money stays here.
Yeah.
And gets circulated, and then they do good, and it gets passed around. Ball teams get supported and stuff like that. I mean, it's a big deal.
We brought that up. John Paul brought it up a few weeks ago on one of the podcasts. Is the normal person out there doesn't realize how far the arm of ag reaches out into your communities, not only from the farmer, but the guys down at the parts house, the ball teams like you just brought up. I mean, when farming does good, it helps. It's a thriving ag farming community.
Oh yeah, you'd be surprised. Like 1% of the population is in ag.
Yeah.
You know, 1% is feeding the other 99%, and you got to have 3 meals a day. You ain't necessarily got to have 3 meals a day, but you're gonna have to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and like y'all and the farmers, and you know, it's just the whole ag community together that makes that happen.
Yeah.
One thing I've always wondered, and I'd bad about jotting stuff down. I brought my notebook today where I'd look a little more professional. I got my glasses, but anyway, like serious question, where do all the sweet potatoes go? Because I love sweet potatoes. I grew up on sweet potatoes, but if you looked around, if you took the average 10 people, 1 out of 10 may eat sweet potatoes once a month. You take Thanksgiving and Christmas out. It's just you don't go into a normal household during the week and there's sweet potatoes there. So it just seems like, where's all them rascals go? I mean, I like them. I eat them all the time. I ate a sweet potato last night, but
Well, according to the stats, the average person eats 7 pounds of sweet potatoes a year.
a year.
And so that's going into like a lot
I
of
got
your.
about a pound of mine last night because that rascal was a jumbo.
Well, I imagine some people are eating some of the other folks' pounds for them, but you know, lots. Like I didn't know this till a few years ago. Like most of your baby food, sweet potatoes it's not necessarily the sweet potato baby food itself, but sweet potatoes is actually a filler for all those others.
Got you.
So that kind of I was supposed to know that, but I kind of.
And I'm gonna say
home.
on the organic end, I'm gonna say probably a large portion of that sector of crop goes into baby food, doesn't it?
It is. I mean, like I said, there's every time you go to any kind of store now, there's an organic section, conventional section.
So when you say organic, all right, so what's the difference between your sweet potatoes and non-organic sweet potatoes?
Well, just no, there's no fertilizer, no herbicide or anything like that. You just kind
That's what we
of.
like to hear around here.
That's right. Well, you know.
No, we do litter every year on Caleb. So.
Litter and lime.
Yeah,
Litter and
litter and
lime,
lime.
so.
No, it was just a joke. I was
No, you're good.
Now on the organic, it's got to be without commercial product for how many years for it to be?
3 years.
So you could have a conventional field and you could leave it laid out and say just move it to pasture,
Yeah, you could-
for 3
you
years
could
and
actually-
bring it back in.
If you could really do it, I mean, you could lay one out 3 years and really build it up with some, you know, cover crops and stuff like that. And
See, I didn't know if once you went commercial products, but you can. So if the fields you put commercial fertilizer on, if you laid those out and didn't put anything, 3 years you could run it back organic.
living in that hypothetical world, you know, you could let a field lay out, which I guess technically we're supposed to let it lay out on 7 years anyway.
I was thinking it had to be out for 3 years, but I don't guess I ever thought about you could lay it out and re-get it back going organic.
But I've enjoyed it. I mean, it kind of goes back to they farmed a long time ago without any inputs and using what the land had to provide for, you know, to build your land up, like going back to your cover crops and stuff like that. You kind of go back to, I guess, soil health in a natural way.
Yeah.
You know, but I've enjoyed it. It's been good for us.
Can you have lime with?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought
Lime
so.
just
I
coming,
was
lime
yeah,
just coming out of the
ground.
just natural.
And also about a stack of paperwork about that size of that box, too.
Do what?
A stack of paperwork for a year about the size of that box right there.
Oh,
Now you can use litter, lime.
You use potash?
You can use potash, can't you? Or
There,
can you?
yeah, there's a certain kind of potash that's got paperwork to go with it about the size of that
Yeah.
box.
I was thinking because potash just comes out of it's not a manufactured product.
So everything you use, you have to like do a bunch of paperwork on to show that it's organic.
Correct. You have to do your due diligence and, you know, show.
Interesting.
Every pass across your field has to be documented in organic.
Correct. I can go back to 2016 and tell you when I plowed my field, what day and what time.
So with the government, organic does have some meaning. Like I mean,
It is. It is regulated, and I think if you try to beat the system, the fine's pretty salty. So they are regulating, checking that, which is good because that kind of protects me and our other grower here, you know, that do that. That
It protects your brand as well.
right, and it just keeps people, you know, holds people accountable, just like any other, you know, food regulation. I think we do a real good job, or somewhat do a good job here in the U.S. on making sure we got good, safe food for the 99% out there, and just the health regulations on foods. I mean, it's a good thing. I'm sure there's all.
Yeah,
new.
I mean, it makes me feel a little bit better about the organic label on something.
Oh,
that
yeah.
you said that they.
If it's got it, they definitely put some time and work into it, and just on any USDA grade like beef and stuff, you know, that's good for our growers. You know, let people know they're having safe food. Which you go on the other side of the world, you know, some of the 99% thinks farmers trying to kill them. I mean, I promise, farmers ain't wanting to spend no more money than they got to,
Yeah.
and on chemicals or anything like that. So, I mean.
In the notes right here, it says the labor law along with Hamas riots in D.C.? What is that?
Well, that was just when we went to D.C. on our D.C. trip. We were actually there for the President of Israel come in town. This is getting just some random regular politics, but we did actually got to see the I can't think of that president's name. I actually got to see the protesters bust in and with their tomato steaks and all that. And
That's where you get the tomato steaks idea.
yeah, that's where I got my tomato steaks idea. I don't care what sign you put on it, just buy your steaks from me. I asked one of them, I was like, "You happy with the quality of your steak right there?" I was like, we could say
They didn't know what to say, did they?
No, I said we could run them actually through a planer and get them a little more soft.
Yeah.
I figured they got real soft hands over there.
Right.
But that was I hated to be up there.
What was you there for?
We were there to promote sweet potatoes through our congressmen and stuff like that.
And the Hamas riots were happening while you were there.
Oh yeah, it was very you see all the stuff on TV and you hear about folks busting in and all this other stuff, but it's true. I mean, we saw it firsthand. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Were you there when, I got to say this the right way for YouTube. Were you there when the guy made himself light up like a Christmas tree in front of the White House?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we could see that in the distance. Like we were walking, pretty much we'd go to a meeting, out a meeting, and it was something to see. I mean, I'd rather it not been that dang crowded while I was down there because I just been on a plane 2 times. That was the second time in my life to be furthest away from home. It was a different world when we were up there, but like I said, but what got me, I was like, man, all these folks with nothing to do. I said, "Geez, we got some taters to dig, if they want to come on down here, But
H2A.
I did want to ask this question because you're the labor thing. Is Trump's deportation executive orders, is that going to have any effect?
No, because all our guys come with the H2A work visa.
And so they all have visas.
Right, they all have visas, and they come. I mean, there's contracts for them, and everything's done perfectly right. We're happy to see them.
Yeah, most of those guys, they'll.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Most of those guys come back to the same farm every year.
They do, and
For the
that
most
leads
part,
to
don't they?
what we were telling them while we were up there in D.C. Like, a lot of these guys, I mean, they're part of our family. I mean, just like the guys that work for you. I mean, you see them more than your real family.
Yeah.
And for viewers that don't know what we're talking about, explain to them how y'all get people to work, or your labor, your workers and things like that.
Just long story short, we have a contract, and let's say there's 10 guys in Mexico sign up, pass all the thing. Well, they get on your contract, and then they come over here. Sometimes it's family members, hearsay, but once you get your basis of your good main folks and need more, they'll recommend somebody as long as they go through the right channels, get checked out, and their contracts for 4 months, whatever. They'll come for them 4 months, then they'll go right on back home to their families, which I commend those guys a lot because it'd be a lot for me to leave my family 4 months out of the year. Mm-hmm. But you're there. I mean, they're just like, they're here doing the same thing we are, just trying to feed their family and better their life. So, and they're doing things the right way.
Can they pretty much make a whole year's living?
Oh yeah, I think
here for what it would call, same living as in making a whole year in Mexico. And
I may be wrong on this, but I think like their labor, what they make a week over there is anywhere from like $30 to $100 being real good a week.
Yeah, so they'd be able to make a whole year's.
Right, and a lot of them, they're business professionals down there. Some have trucking companies, some have farms, and
can't they just sort of migrate down to Florida into the vegetable fields and stay a little longer?
That's going to be depending on what contract and stuff there are, but there is a program like that, and
to where they could leave your farm and just sort of follow the work.
Right, and how I got into getting H2A guys, because I was first time farmer. Like I said, I got a loan from the FSA to start farming when I was carrying on. Well, the year that it ended, that I was going to use local help, was the U.S. Marshals come and raided my field and took down a fugitive that was working. Actually, he was actually one of my best hands out there.
Yeah.
But once they took him down, we were shut down 2 days. The folks weren't coming back, and apparently this was a bad deed. They had sniper rifles on him and everything.
Dang.
So I mean, they like swatted your farm.
Yeah, I got a phone call, and I was in the field where I usually don't have service, and he's breaking up, and I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, "I'll call you back from a private number." Called me crystal clear. Never talked that good on the phone whatsoever. He's like, "Well, meet me down here. I'm so and so U.S. Marshals." I'm like, all right. Let's see what this. I was like, let's make it to lunch.
Yeah.
You know, got 2 diggers going. I was like, let's make it to lunchtime. Let me just stall. He's like, yeah, all his buddies are going to prison. 10 to life or something like that. I was like, golly, it must be a bad old fella. He's got a 2293 something gun or whatever carries on. Man, that sounds pretty bad. I ain't no real gun guy. It's a shotgun and a rifle. I was like, man, that sounds pretty tough. And I kept on, hee-hawing around. I was like, they're going to go lunch on an hour. At least I get till lunch out of them. And he was like, well, we can get you for harboring fugitives. I said, I don't know why we're still sitting here. Let's go.
Round him up.
Conversation over.
Yeah, call your boys. And he radioed something about 7 blacked out SUVs come up. He said, suit up. Man, they look like SEAL Team 6 jumping out. I was like, golly. I was like, well, don't tell him that I told you where he was.
Yeah, for real. Well, so did you ever find out what he was wanted for?
I didn't, but the funny story is after 2 weeks, that same marshal guy called me and said, man, I got to ask you again, you got this fellow working for you? I was like, well, the best thing for y'all to do is just put an ad in the paper saying that y'all are looking for local help for a farm, and they just come to you.
Yeah.
They just come to you. But, as far as that and reliability for this short period of time on working these folks, it's just not feasible for you to go to the bank, sign your name on that note, and letting them decide if, you're going to make it that year or not.
Yeah.
Because potatoes is very, very labor intensive. And the thing that I kept on repeating while we were in D.C., I said, because we talk about the labor wage rate and stuff going up, and it almost sounds like we want cheap labor, but that's not it. We want affordable, seasonal labor that we can count on. Mm-hmm. Because if you make it so much where we can't turn a profit, then you can say goodbye to oranges, apples, any of your specialty crops, because they're all labor intensive. I mean, we can either...
Do they all use the H2A labor?
They do. I mean, you can look on... I did some research before I came, just looking on different stores similar to mine in the potato industry, different things. They're like, we count on these guys, and these guys are like part of our family. They come to my son's birthday party, bought him a jacked up remote control gold truck.
And just to clarify this again, H2A labor, what he's talking about there is they have guys that they bring in from Mexico or South America that come in and work at seasonal labor during picking and and planting, and they come in and help the farm, and they get paid, and they live on the farm, and y'all have to have pretty detailed dormitory type things for them. Each one of them has to have a certain amount of square. Or you can explain it.
Yeah, they have to have their square footage that gets regulated each year, and these guys get treated right, which they're the backbone to our farm, and they're our closest friends. I mean, and it changes your going from local help to, which I know some guys got some real good local help too, but it just wouldn't be good. You couldn't, if you, I know one grower's got brings 500 guys in just for the month of harvest. You'd have to set out 50 acres for parking. Mm-hmm. But either way, I done lost track of what I was thinking.
I do it all the time.
It happens. We was talking about you were saying it changes your perspective on what?
Yeah, well, I mean, it just changes your whole work environment. They're here to work, to take care of your family. Everybody's got the same mission statement. The farm does good, I do good. We're all in there as a team. It works together. And, I mean, everybody's just happy. It's fun to come to work. It's fun to farm. It just creates this whole big camaraderie atmosphere, out there. Everybody's working for the greater good.
I thought this is where you were going to go, but that's an even better answer. But does it change your perspective on immigration laws and things?
Not necessarily.
My take on that is, I mean, his guys are coming here legally under.
That's what I was about. Yeah.
So I don't have a problem with anybody coming here legally. It's the ones, especially like during COVID, they were all telling us, making us wear masks, and then they're letting all these people just come across with God knows what.
Not
and
getting tested for COVID, but everybody
nothing.
else does.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't mind anybody coming here legally. I mean, that's
Yeah,
how
that-
our whole country was built. So
And that's what I asked that question, because I felt like your answer was going to be no, because your guys come here legally, they do the right thing, and they go through the whole process of getting the visas and all that, and it you know, so I figured you would say no, because
And with
Now pre H2A, I don't want to get ahead of you too much, but pre H2A, I used to always enjoy your Facebook help wanted ads.
oh yeah, you had to get very creative, and that's why I always
they were creative.
That was some
what's
of
your
the,
what's
they
your
were
best
gold.
one that you can remember?
the best one that I can remember. Well, I kind of took a model from, I don't know if y'all remember Plexus. You know the
Yeah, the pink drink.
the pink drink. You know, I kind of took a play off them. You had to sell it like Plexus. You know, you had to, you know, make them just want to be there. And that's
It was entertaining. I'm talking about it was every year. I look forward to it.
And that's how, you know, I was like, well, send me PM me, you know, your name, your contact information, and a little something about yourself. If they took that much time to do that, then they'd get a job. You know, but the ones that wouldn't take that much time, that'd kind of help me weed out, you know, who I want, you know.
Do you remember what your funniest one or your best one or said?
Well, I was like, well, if you love the outdoors and want a good outlook on the Mississippi view line or something like that all day with the cool breeze in your face, you know, being
We'll have to backtrack and look up.
I'll pull
some
up
of
one and put
post
it on
a
the
couple of them on there
podcast.
with
But
it.
just
Yeah.
starting
It
if
was-
you
they
love
were-
with the out.
They made me want to go.
yeah. I mean,
If I didn't know that I was going to be eating dust,
So
they
it
made me
sounded
wanna
like
go
a
be taters.
vacation.
yeah, I painted a very
It
pretty
was
picture.
He painted a very nice picture of the job.
Yeah,
But,
spa day.
But I mean, you know, when you have, like I said, when I get my guys here, I mean, it is like that. I mean, everybody's, you know, it's just fun to have fun at work, you know, and get the job done. Everybody's, you know, it's like I said, it's a very good
I tell you what
atmosphere.
tickles me because we're around them. We're around a lot of those guys a lot, you know, spreading in the spring, and some of those guys that come over there, and you know, you don't know the ones that can speak English and the ones that can't.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking to them, and they just smiling and nodding their head, knowing good and well they ain't understood.
They ain't heard
They
nothing.
ain't heard nothing you said.
And somehow they're still funny without you being able to understand them and them being able to understand you. And I mean, they'll make
I
it.
sit there and I forgot what I was asking one day, and he said, "Yeah."
And don't mind helping you, don't know, you just,
no.
you know, just all around
Yeah.
good folks. I've got good friends. We talk to each other at Christmas, Thanksgiving, and some of the other guys that's on the board, I mean, they talk to their guys all throughout the year. I mean, it's just one big family. It's just, to me, it just makes the industry so much better. You got folks just fighting for the same goals you are.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we just want to feed and take care of our families.
Right.
You know.
Speaking of that guy who carved that bee into that table, he was a Guatemalan guy. And our guy who made the table, he was standing there with me. He said, he acts like he don't understand English, but I think he knows every damn thing I'm saying.